In this video, I'm going to go over the Black Wind King's moveset and then go into a full fight guide. So first we're going to review clips of each of his common moves by order of how often he uses them. And in the clips I'm going to emphasize attack telegraphing, dodge timing, and then the timing of your own attack follow-ups. And then after we go over those clips, I'll go into a full fight with him.
It was I.
So his favorite attack for the beginning of the fight is this double slash and slam sequence. And he telegraphs it by spinning his spear around behind him and then thrusting the hilt end out. And he goes into two angled swipes and ends by jumping into the air and slamming his weapon into the ground. The two swipes don't cover much distance, so you can kind of just back away. And then you want to roll into him when he's in the air about to slam the weapon down. And as he's recovering, you can get 2 or 3 attacks in. And he does have an imbued version of this. The only difference being the final attack in the sequence kind of projects out some black wind, so just make sure you're not in the way of that after you dodge. And now we'll look at his ground stab and double spin attack sequence. So the telegraphing for this one is basically just that he starts running towards you. And when he gets a little closer, he's going to jump into the air and throw his spear at you. So when he goes into the air, you want to roll through him and make sure you're behind him because he follows up with 2 spinning slash attacks that track you. But as long as you're behind him and keep a little bit of distance, those shouldn't hit you. And then when he's on that final spin, you can go back in towards him and get a few attacks off. So roll through him, keep distance, go back in, get a few attacks. And he also has an imbued version of this attack that launches a black wind projectile from the final spin, so just be aware of that. And now we've got his Plow Charge attack. So the telegraph for this one is this front kick he does, and he pretty quickly goes into the charge after this kick, so as soon as you see him doing this kick animation, you want to roll to his side. And then after you've dodged it, you can go back into him and get 1 or 2 attacks off. He recovers more quickly from this one, so you have to be careful when you go in for a couple of attacks. And next is his Flame Breath attack, which he likes to use while you're close to him, so keep that in mind. And the telegraphing is he brings his gourd up to his mouth to drink before blowing flames out of his mouth. And when he does that, you just want to do 1 back dodge, and that should give you enough distance that you don't take damage. And he doesn't really have a recovery period after this, so you can't really get attacks in. Next, we'll look at his Wisp Form. So he uses this at around 75% and 50%, and you can either let him go into the form and dodge the Wisp attacks, or you can knock him out of it with your paralyzing spell, which I'll go over in a moment. But first, for the telegraphing, he crouches down and brings his arm in front of his face, and he usually says something as well, I think, and then he turns into a wisp. You can knock him out of it immediately with your paralyzing spell, but if you don't and let him go into the wisp form, then he'll fly at you back and forth. And to dodge it, you need to wait for the little energy pop that the wisp makes. It makes a popping sound and has a little burst of energy, and then dodge through it. I recommend just using your paralyzing spell to knock him out of it immediately though, because it also lets you get a full attack sequence in since he recovers really slowly after you knock him out of it. Next is his shoulder bash combo, in which he tries to shoulder bash you and then stabs his spear into the ground, which he uses to propel himself at you, and then he punches the ground, which causes an explosion around him. The telegraphing for this is he turns towards you with his shoulder facing you in kind of a crouched position, and he's going to launch himself at you with a shoulder bash and then stab his spear into the ground, and then launch himself at you with a drop kick, spear swipe, and then punch the ground, causing an explosion. So as soon as you see him go into that shoulder check position, you want to be rolling back, and you want to keep rolling back for each subsequent attack because they do cover quite a bit of distance. And you want to make sure you roll back for that ground slam because it does an area damage around him. And then you can go back in and get 2 or 3 attacks after he punches the ground. And now we have his double black wind slash attack, in which he launches 2 black wind projectiles along the ground at you. And the telegraph for this is he brings the spear to his side while he spins it, gathering black wind energy. and then he launches two projectiles at you, one from the left and one from the right. So as soon as you see him bring the spear to his side, gathering that energy, you should be waiting for these to come towards you, and you don't want to dodge immediately because they move kind of slowly along the ground. You want to wait until they're almost to you and then dodge, and wait for the next one and then dodge that. And next is his 6 combo. He does 2 slashes and a slam, followed by a stab combo. And the telegraph for this is this position where he brings his one leg up and brings his spear behind his back. And this means he's going to go into his double slash slam combo to start. None of these attacks cover much distance, so you can just roll back once when he starts to do this and keep backing away. You probably don't even need to roll away. But just keep your distance for these and make sure you keep track of how many attacks he's done. And when he's done the final slash, you want to go in and get 2 or 3 attacks off. So 2 slashes and a slam, and you just keep backing away. And he's going to do a slash, stab, slash. So he did slash, stab, and the final slash. And you want to go in and get some attacks in on him because he's recovering. And this is the imbued version. The only difference is that he kind of disappears at the beginning or midway through and reappears, but it's still the same sequence. And last, we'll look at his quad slash and spin attack sequence. He doesn't do this often, but it's dangerous because it covers a lot of area, and it also doesn't have much of a telegraph, with him bringing the spear back with both hands and a leg forward, but he goes straight into the 4 slash combo from that position. One thing to note is that the 3rd slash in the sequence is particularly dangerous because he switches the spear to one hand, and it covers a much larger range than you would expect, so you need to make more distance for the third slash in that sequence. And then just watch out for his spin at the end, which is pretty easy to dodge. And now I'm going to go into the full fight.
You challenge me without even letting me have.
So he's leading by thrusting out the hilt end of his spear, which means he's going to go into his double slash and slam sequence. So I'm just going to back away from his slashes and wait for him to go into his slam. I'm going to roll through it so I can get some attacks in on him. Now he's bringing the gourd to his mouth, which means he's going to do the flame breath, and I'm just going to roll away. Now he's running at me, which means he's going to do his ground stab double spin. I'm going to roll through him and keep a little distance, and then go in when he finishes the 2nd spin. So stay behind him and keep a little distance, and then go in for some attack damage. Now he's doing his front kick, which means Plow Charge, so I'm just going to dodge roll to the side. So he's saying something and crouching with his arm in front of him, which means he's going into the Wisp Form. And as soon as he does that, I'm going to cast Paralyzing Spell on him to knock him out of it, which allows me to get a full attack sequence in. He's doing another slash and slam. I'm just going to roll into him and get more attacks in on the final slam. Now he's doing his stab and spin, so I get behind him and keep a little distance, and then go in for a few attacks. Now he's doing his black wind slash, so I'm going to wait for the projectile to almost reach me on the left and roll to the side. And then do the same thing for the right. Doing another slash and slam. And another stab spin. Now he's doing one of his imbued attacks where he disappears at the beginning or in the middle of an attack sequence. It's kind of hard to tell what he's going to do, but if you stay in the center of the arena with the light, you can see his shadow approaching, so you can roughly know when you need to start your dodging. He's going into his 2nd Wisp Form, so I'm just going to immediately knock him out and get another attack sequence in. So he's brought his weapon back with both hands, and he's kind of pulled up his leg, which means he's going to do the 6 slash combo. And since he's imbued with the Black Wind right now, it means he's going to disappear in the middle of the sequence and then reappear. So you just need to be prepared for that. So 3 slashes. He disappears and then does the final 3. And then you can get some damage in as he recovers. So he's doing his imbued double slash and slam this time. The only thing that's really different from the normal one is that he fires out a Black Wind projectile on the slam. So just make sure you dodge to the side.
You still think you are better than us?
So that time he did the final 3 attacks in the 6 slash combo. So he can kind of split them up like that in this phase. Now he's running towards me while he's imbued with the Black Wind, so he's going to do the ground stab. But on the final slash, he sends out a projectile, so you just want to be aware of that. My paralyzing spell's back up, so I think I'm going to try to just finish him. Do quite enough damage, so he's gonna reappear somewhere and try to hit me. So he's doing the double slash slam, so that's pretty easy to dodge, and I just finished him. So that's how you beat the Black Wind King.
You have some cheap tricks.
I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.